running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake,
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
Welcome to a very special episode of Off Panel, Off Topic, first video episode. And there was a reason that we kind of been holding off on video, mostly because I'm moving, so there's a lot of boxes in the background, and it doesn't look the best. But we're gonna make it work. Audio listeners, this doesn't affect you at all. Just keep listening, keep driving your car,
Keep trying to listen.
keep driving. We're only 4 episodes in, everybody, but we already have our first guest joining us today. Luke Moyer, the one and only. Luke, how the hell are you?
I'm good, man. I'm on vacation this week, so I'm just living life.
Yeah, this is the
doing
only.
well, I'm not doing the CDLL, but Tyler knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
We did that before we
What?
Also, it's
That was weird. I'm all excited. Like, yeah.
Luke and I are about to be very, very busy. So this is probably the best time we had to record one of these. So here we go.
Let's just get to it.
Jesus, why are you doing that into the mic?
I did it.
Jeez Louise.
I do that in Mike like at least once a show.
If you're, I'm saying if you're gonna do it, hit the mute button, man.
The cough button.
Yeah, jeez Louise. It's there for a reason.
He's on
Tyler.
edge tonight, folks.
I'm always on edge.
Yeah.
No,
Whenever I'm around.
Why are you so paranoid, bro?
The government, man. It's the government.
They chipped us, man.
So before we get into the main topic, because the main topic is going to be what Luke and I are working on, the project that him and I started working on, I would say late.
My bad, bro.
Late-
So
late March.
I didn't know we were going to talk about that too, because I brought a couple of the main characters.
Cool.
For the art project.
So
we actually did a little research into the project yesterday at JCD and Hobby, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did actually.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I don't want to go out to the truck and get them. So
I thought you had them in the back.
I mean, they're sitting in the car
You know what?
seat.
They don't get it. We're saving it for
Yeah,
the.
we'll
we're
wait.
saving it for.
They're already belted in. I'm not taking them out of the car seat and bring them back in. Fuck.
They are my children.
Yeah.
I bought a car seat specifically for
if
them.
you're worried about the car seat, why are they sitting in a hot car? Shut your mouth.
But yeah, Luke and
Yeah,
I are working on a comic book, and we're doing it in a different way, in a different style, and I think it's really exciting. So we'll definitely talk about that and what we like, our grand scheme of things of what we want to do for that story, and we'll fill Tyler in on it. Because Tyler has kind of been in the dark about all of this. So
we spent we literally spent I don't know, like probably at least 6 hours worth of time. we did not go to sleep until I passed out at like 4 a.m.
Yeah,
playing the WWE 2K 19, I think it was.
Right.
And we literally never played any actual matches. We just spent like 6+ hours creating characters to like concept what they would look like.
So rather than sketch it out, we literally use that video games creation suite as like a way to do concept art. And
why not? It's there.
And it's kind of cool.
2K, I got this fucking crazy idea. You should totally hit me up on this. I mean, I probably won't reach you with this, but like I do have a sweet idea for your create a player, and I think we can collab and we can make something great. So
you guys need to add a bulge function in the create a player.
Oh no, for sure, because I mean some of these guys have like huge wings.
What are the options? What are the options?
It's important to their character.
It's important to the character.
One of the options that
this
you
guy
can purchase is the Spinal Tap cucumber wrapped in foil. The classic. That's what set the metal detector off. Oh man,
what a movie.
I'm old.
What a movie. But yeah, it is cool, and there is I'd have to show you this, but Epic Games does have like an Unreal. They call it a metahuman creator, funny enough, but where you can kind of do character models, which I think is really cool, and it's interesting to see how we can advance that, and it's exciting because it's really exciting for a guy like me who can't really draw. But I can build on these templates, and I always say that I can't make the sandbox, but if you make the sandbox, I can play in it.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
And I can build a castle.
And that's part of the reason why I do I'm doing this art style, and we'll touch base later.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Before we
but-
get
Can
to
I
that.
offer real quick? The other day, I made a couple of characters for me and Jake on this thing called HeroForge.com. And it's basically a place where you can customize your own miniatures for like D&D and stuff like that.
This is not an ad.
No, but that's another place where you could create characters and get an idea of what they look like.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I played around with that, and
I made him a snake creature.
Well, I know Luke is like me. Luke and I have always done those things where because I remember Marvel.com had a superhero creator on their site. It was like a Flash thing, and you could print it off, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. But the problem is, A, I didn't have a printer, and B, you know how expensive ink is.
I
You
know.
print that shit off
I
in
know
color.
now why we're
Oh,
such
yeah.
good friends. Because when I was in like first grade, I was in this program in North Dakota called Talented and Gifted. And it was for really smart kids, and Iowa didn't have it, so I got fucked out of life. Thanks, Iowa, when we moved here. But one of my favorite things to do was they brought us all these stuffed animals and had us pick one. And then they gave you this questionnaire.
Wrong.
And they were like, hey, fill out
Wrong.
all of these things for your character. And that was my favorite thing. So as long as I've been alive, I love customizing shit.
Oh, no, shit.
Oh, yeah.
No, for sure.
Love that
Like,
shit.
I
You
used
come up
to
with
work-
a name and a backstory and a superpower and
I used to work at the Adidas outlet, and one of the things
shoes.
was you get discounts online, and they had the Adidas ID or whatever. My Adidas, I think is what it's called. So you would go in and you would like customize shit, and I had like 5-10 pairs of just shit that I customized because
Love
I was just like,
customizing
I just
shit,
like going into the back on my break while, ooh, that look cool.
Yeah.
So like I'd have my Husker Red game day kicks.
Yeah. You give
Like-
me enough stuff to customize, and I forget about the state of the world. Everything's
Oh
fine.
yeah, no, and it's
just
something that
customize
reflects you,
jeans.
and it's like something that nobody else can have.
Exactly.
and
No,
it's so
that's
cool.
no exaggeration.
No, it
like,
isn't.
We were up till like 4 a.m. making characters and doing different designs, and as we were doing that, we were writing out the plan that we have for
Oh,
the
dude,
sequel
dude.
Good
to
times.
the book that we're trying to get published now. So
It's gonna be so
exciting
fucking.
times.
Oh man, we need to slow our brains down with how amazing
Yeah.
this whole thing is because
Creative people can account to this. This is the most frustrating
I love the
stage.
dog in the background, just like, what are you guys talking
because
about?
our
Luke's dog
mind
is, like, peeking
runs so much faster than like our physical form and
Yes.
like our actual
Oh, yeah.
like creations. Because I've only got like not even 5 pages because one of the pages is the fucking
It's a
cover.
full page.
My
It's just
buddy,
the cover.
yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
he's got like what six issues or whatever for like the first.
He's got
first
more issues
installment.
than that, ladies and
So-
gentlemen.
It's
Well,
true.
fuck it. We'll just talk about this. We'll talk about the other topic later. We'll just get into this now. The whole idea for what Luke and I are trying to do with the book. I hate to give Zack Snyder credit, but the initial spark of inspiration for this story did come from Zack Snyder's Justice League. In a sense of, at the end when they do the whole nightmare sequence, in my mind I thought that's a cool concept of a post-apocalyptic future, but my idea was that they're all superpowered, and the whole premise of the book was going to be that it is in a post-apocalypse that was caused by the creation of superheroes. And the reasoning for it was the setup for the story is there's an event that happens that causes what they originally thought was going to show what they called the metagene. It was like the link to the next evolution of humans. And the whole idea was they were going to set off this beacon that we couldn't hear or see. It was just like a pulse that was going to mark all of the meta-humans.
Like a dog marking a tree.
It's like
Cerebro.
it's a new age
Tyler, please don't jump in.
concept that Charles Darwin would be proud of.
I'm in the middle
There's
of
no
you
other way to
guys.
say it.
You guys make a mistake and bring me to your pitch meeting for like Image Comics or something like that, and like you're doing your thing and you're doing great. You're doing amazing. And it marks all the metahumans. And then dumbass me, like a dog marking a tree. Right, Jim Lee?
This is you hosting the panel. Like, yeah, you're having this deep conversation about a story.
Yeah, then they're like,
am I right?
Get out.
Cut his
They
mic.
were fine, but get out.
Cut his mic. No, but it's kind of like a Cerebro idea, right?
Yeah.
But instead of marking them, it kills everyone
Let me start rubbing your knee.
that doesn't have the metagene.
Only the strong will survive.
strong.
And so, but that initial idea did come a little bit from Zack Snyder's Justice League. But the more as I wrote it and I developed it, because I didn't know how long this was going to be. I didn't know, because I definitely wanted to create a universe. And I just didn't know how long it would take me. So this first book is 6 issues. I wrote them. They're called chapters, but they're really 6 issues because the first one is about 25 pages, but every one after that I stuck to 22 pages. Stuck to the format of that. But go ahead.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start with when the writing process, because Jake was just like, hey man, I got this idea. Here's like this, what I want to call it. This is what it is. And then he's like, here's the first issue, like the first chapter. And I read it, and I was just sitting there, and I'm like goosebumps. I got chills. I'm like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This would be awesome. This would be great.
Then after whacking it, he called.
And then no. But the funny thing is like after,
why do I always gotta add
after a couple issues, he's like sending it to me and everything. I'm making notes on I printed it off. I made notes of like how I was gonna panel shit out, like everything.
And this is the thing too. I've never written a comic book script.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one issue that's like fucking, it literally grabs you by the fucking ball sack and the throat at the same time, and you have no idea which one they're going to like squeeze to kill you.
The villain is like going like this.
And and I'm
For
like,
audio listeners,
and like,
you can figure that
out.
And
I hadn't started reading it yet, and it was like, because I was at work or something, and I think it was like a Friday.
Yeah, because we're on Tuesday.
And-
I work nights, you work mornings. We're kind of on separate schedules.
And so he sends it to me at like, I don't know, probably 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh, dude, I want to read this, but I can't. So I get home. I'm at work. He's like, do you read it yet? I'm like, no, I'm about to right now. And so the funny thing is, I mood lighted the bathroom, and I like ran a bathtub, like the bath, and I had like the bubbles and shit. And I literally...
was this for chapter 5 or chapter 6?
The one where like it literally just gut wrenches the fuck out of you and like just everyone.
Yeah, it's 5.
And yeah, so anyway,
issue 5 is brutal.
And so I'm like reading it in the bathtub on my iPad. So I'm like full on like rom-com Lady in the Tub type romance
raging
book.
boner.
And I'm like just scrolling through, and like each time that I like pan through, I like have to stop, and I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna fucking do this, because just the emotion of the imagination that I'm like seeing, I can't do it justice for the panels. So like, it's going to be very interesting to continue and get this shit all through, because there's so much emotion that you can't, like, I can't relay into fucking paper.
And it's hard to talk about without spoiling it.
Oh,
We don't want to spoil this, obviously.
Well, here's the great thing is that from what I've seen so far, that you guys have shown me with some panel, some page mock-ups.
Yeah, we showed you our concept
I
art.
pretty much read most of the scripts because you'll send them to me and see what I think. And it's amazing shit. What I think is great about creating stuff is, at least the way that I think that the three of us do it, is we kind of do it in a linear fashion. Like, even though Luke is like, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that issue, you haven't got there yet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I trust that when you guys get to that point, that you'll know what to do at that point.
Yeah.
It's just hard to think of it as that point, because you're like, well, I'm working on this part of it, but we're all three of us always still looking ahead too, even though we're working on this, but I'm looking ahead to, like, when I was making my album, is the same thing. Like, okay, I'm making that song, but I want to make, it's the same thing. But if you do it in a linear fashion, it's maybe not as fun sometimes,
which is actually funny, because when I started it with issue 1, my main focus was, how do I nail this? How do I get this right? And then what's next? But my thing is, and I feel like any person that's done anything creative understands this and deals with it. I think we all do. I had a great idea for a beginning. I had it great idea for an ending, but I didn't know how to fill out the middle. You know, I had a good sandwich, but I didn't have the lunch meat. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, how do I do that? But then once I hit chapter 3 or issue 3, whatever you want to call it, once I hit that halfway point, which I didn't even know was going to be my halfway point, because I originally thought I want to make this epic thing. It's 12 issues. But then once I hit issue 3, I was like, well, and I could do this.
That's the thing
6.
too, is you basically just fucking jump into it. Like,
You kinda have
like
to.
you had the beginning and you had the end, and then as you were doing it, it was just like,
yeah, I think
Like-
It writes itself. If it's a good enough story idea and everything, and you care enough about it, it almost writes itself.
I finished it.
I
in-
always have
in
problem
a
with
couple
endings.
months. Yeah.
I have no problem going beginning and the middle, 2 acts. I have no problem with that. My problem is, how do I end this
Oh, yeah.
satisfactorily? Is that a word?
Well, and it's funny because
Satisfyingly?
my wife always gives me shit because
satisfactorily.
Sure.
I don't know.
You know,
About-
what, you know what I meant.
I was about halfway through chapter 3, and I was getting frustrated because she kept pointing out
Never
things.
tell your hopes and dreams to the people
Right?
closest to you.
Never. They will crush them, and not because they don't love you.
Well, and this is why I do like I want,
Because they love you too much.
yeah.
and this is why I
It's
want.
not a real job.
This is why I want her to read my stuff, because she. I lost my train of thought, you bastards. No, this
She
is
kept
why.
giving
No, I
you
know.
story, yeah.
I know. She. The reason I like her reading this stuff, because she does point out things.
She's
that-
got a shovel and she reads it with a shovel because she's always pointing out the fucking potholes.
Well, that's the point.
That's why I want someone to read it, because when I give it to you, you're involved. You're directly involved with the project, so you're going to be like, "Oh
I'm
man,
just-
this is fucking awesome."
Oh, and no, and I do give you notes and I do give you
Yeah,
like
you
hints,
do.
but like mostly it's good. It could be better,
Right.
but for, I mean, yeah. So
I know
continue with
I know my music
your
ain't the
wife.
greatest and shit, but you have to have somebody to tell you, like, hey, that sucks. I tried recording a song for the newer album during this like a month ago.
I never tell Tyler something's a bad
I kind
thing,
of
but I did.
I kind of had to push him to get me. Now he's got to the point.
And you see, that's what I'm saying is when you're directly involved with something, you do
That's
kind
why
of
I need
have,
you. Yeah, and you've gotten way better at it, but
she-
definitely I look to you to be like, does this suck? And be honest. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks. Okay.
but it's funny. It's
Noted.
it's funny because the reason I bring this up is because she was the one who suggested that I had too many characters in the story, and then I took that advice to like the most extreme.
Yeah. Oh
you
my
made
god.
more characters?
No,
I mean-
If anything, she gave me my best critique, because if she doesn't give me that critique, I don't come up with the idea that I have for the third act. Where it was like, and it wasn't like a spiteful thing, but it was more of like, she made a good point. Fuck it, let's do this. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way that I did it, I was very proud of in the writing process, because I remember I called up our buddy Adam and I said, hey, I have an idea, because he was reading it while you were reading it. So he was reading it. It was funny because I was kind of giving them the scripts like a weekly comic or like a monthly comic. Like I was like,
Oh, that's
okay, here's
awesome.
issue 1, here's 2, whatever. But then the second half of the book, I finished in a week. I finished the last 3 chapters in a fucking week, because I was like, all right, I know where I'm going. I know how I'm going to do this.
See, I wish I had as much fucking free time in the morning like you, because I have so many
Yes,
things
it does
running
help.
and rolling in my brain.
It does
but,
help that I work later in the day.
I work fucking
Night jobs are
80
great for
hours and I work
creativity.
fucking.
But
I'm-
anyway,
I'm a full-time dad.
yeah. That's why we got to get this book out now.
So yeah.
But anyway,
What was my sitcom?
4th and Long, where you're the
Oh yeah.
fucking football coach with your mustache.
It's all right.
Yeah, right. that's the thumbnail.
Can I be your assistant coach?
Absolutely. Yeah. Only if Jake is my wacky neighbor.
Keep it down over there.
Keep it down over there. I'm trying to have sex with some chicks because I'm a playboy. You'll be like a single playboy dude.
I'm one of your players.
I'm a player. All your kids yelling is getting. Yeah.
Speaking of
Did
creative,
you emancipate yourself from your parents? That's why you live on your own.
yeah, emancipated minor.
He's like
Fuck
12.
Even though that's
full beard.
Pee-wee.
I don't change.
Yes.
I don't change my appearance at all. I have this fucking full beard.
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
have,
12.
No, we're making this a cartoon.
I have the Benjamin Button thing, but it's like really weird. Like I age really fast, but backwards, but also frontwards.
Shit.
I'm only 14. Look at my beard.
It's the reverse Benjamin Button.
It's the reverse Benjamin.
It's just normal. Yeah, reverse Benjamin Button is just drinking and boozing. That's or drinking and smoking is what I meant to
It's
say.
what I do, man. It's what I do.
Well, mostly just smoking at this point. But anyway, but back to that. But it was her. It was her idea to shoot with her saying this has too many characters, which I think was a solid criticism because even I was having trouble juggling storylines. So, but the reason that I wanted to have you on is I wanted to talk about this because I'm very excited about this. The problem is, like Tyler said, we think in a linear thing, and by the time I was wrapping up chapters, like the last 3 chapters, I was already setting up ideas for the next project. I was like, once it was like a drug, you know. I got my first hit, and now I'm like, oh, I got to get more. I need my fix. So, but then I ran into a problem where Luke had to slow me down. Where Luke is like, dude, we don't even have this first book fucking sketched out, or like we don't have concept art, we don't have any of this stuff. So it's actually been nice to go back and work on this other project that's still in the same, universe, and do something a little bit different and try something like that, so it gives you more time to make the book. And what was it like to sit there, because you do have a few pages done? So
They're fantastic.
What was the thought process? Because we're doing a completely different style. This is mixed media. We're incorporating things in our own environment. We're actually doing it ourselves. Like there's shots of Luke's. There's a close-up shot of Solomon. One of the characters' name is Solomon. His eyeballs.
Just, give you this. This is what I'm going to give you. I'm not going to spoil too much more. This is just the
for
cover
audio
photo.
listeners. It's the cover. Yeah.
I think it's pretty dope. It's I don't want to give away what I'm doing with the art style, but I will have you know
It's unique.
that this is
Nobody else could make
this
it.
is
but Luke.
Colorado. So we'll just put it that at. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
it's not set in
Did you take
Colorado,
that
but this
picture,
photo is of Colorado.
Is that on my bachelor party? You took
Yeah,
the
yeah.
picture of the city skyline.
Yeah, I
Did you
did.
get the bank building in it?
But that's what I love about this. That's what I love about this style, is it's incorporating things from our real life into it.
That's why I sent Luke. Is that why Luke wanted me to send all those pictures of my dick and balls?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense now.
It's for research.
Just wait until
Wait till I put some filters on it. It's going to look like a dude. It's going to look like a character in the book.
So
he's just got really large feet.
what was your inspiration to do more of the mixed media, different style approach for that?
Well, because the way that I'm going to do it, I want it to be consistent. I want the art and the characters to be consistent, because when I do draw, I spend so much time on the first panel or the first concept for it, and it'll be super detailed. It'll be super realistic. It'll be shaded. It'll be fucking graded. It'll be fucking and then
It'll be
as it
emancipated.
progresses, because I tried doing a comical funny Shadowblade origin where it's basically just ripping off everything Batman, but it's finding the humor and everything. So instead of Harvey getting burnt with the acid or whatever from the Batman Forever type idea, it was at a fucking nursing home and they're having nachos and he gets burnt in the face with nacho cheese and he becomes a luchador called the Haha Man, and it's a ripoff of the Joker, and anyway
That's fucking
anyway
awesome.
that's not
Well, it's yeah.
so anyway, and when I was trying to do that, I was paneling it out,
awesome.
and the first the cover photo I drew was super detailed and it was super awesome, and then it just kind of just started getting less and less good, so it started turning into really shitty comic strips and just almost stick figure at a certain point, because I couldn't do it justice.
Is it because once you do it once, then it becomes easier to you, so then your brain starts saying okay, you can do this faster?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
no, yeah. So because
that's when you told me that yesterday. That's fast. I've never asked my brother about his process. It's my big brother, and I kind of feel like that's rude. just because he's my breed. He'd probably be like, none of your business, but he's cool. But I would.
Yeah, artists.
But
I noticed
really
artists are
like
pretty
that.
protective of their process.
Right. Well, I mean, I just like he's never asked me my process, so it's kind of like, why would I ask him? But when you told me that yesterday, I had never talked to any artists about their process, and I'd never heard that, and that's fascinating to me. I think it's definitely creative types like us. It's easy to go, okay, I've done it once, now I can do it again, and then you kind of fall into a trap of like repeating yourself, but not to that level, and then you realize, okay, I got to do it a different way.
Yeah, and that's like when because like I do a lot of like paintings in like my basement and stuff, like. So I can spend,
but that's not
like a whole
multi-panel
week.
comic book.
Well, no,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Like I can spend a whole week on this one canvas, and I can do and make it super detailed, and I can think of like, oh, I should put this in the background, and I should do this to make it look like it's fucking 3-dimensional and all this stuff. And then it's like it's harder when you're. Man, I'm not so much on like a time frame, but like I kind of am. I'm trying to push myself to get it done and do more.
We set a deadline for ourselves. We said
that's important.
There's a specific date that we want to be able to.
And I was saying I wanted to get like a page done a week, and that was like a month ago, and I've gotten fucking not even 5 pages.
Well, and that's the thing
but life happened, and I've been working more, and I don't have a lot of free time.
You said a page a week, and it's been a month, and you got 5 pages. You're ahead of the game, my man.
I mean, you're not wrong.
5 pages in 4 weeks.
I saw the date. It's been more than a month.
It's been more than a month. No, I'm saying I wanted to do that, and it was after I made these. I said I wanted to do one a week.
Oh yeah.
And so I've literally haven't done anything for almost a month.
4 pages.
I had 5 pages.
Like shit.
I set myself a page one a week, and now I still have 5.
But I also, because we went yesterday to the comic store and everything, and that's part of it. Is like I want to be able to like create and concept the guys and like the characters, so that when I do go to do it, I can just like bang bang bang.
Bang bang.
Because like I said, the first issue I have notes because Jake when he's writing the dialogue and everything, he'll put like little notes of, like what he sees as to do it, and then I'll write my notes on it and be like, well, it'd probably be cooler to do this, or it'd be easier to do this, and then I kind of like manipulate the mind and have it look like it should. And so I want to be able to have like my little diorama, I guess is what you would call it, because that's kind of like the whole thing is like whatever the fucking perspective,
forced perspective,
perspective is kind of what this art style is. So it's like different things. And it's changed to look like other things.
It's cool because you're using it to you're operating like what we chose to do with the style of this book is cool because you're operating in a 3-dimensional space, but presenting it in 2D.
Yeah, because I got like 3 different apps that I'm using to like change the construct of the photos.
And I've been helping him out too. And I've been doing the same thing where I've been putting my, because I have some knowledge of Photoshop and how to do those things. So I try to help when I can with those, but and also the hard part about this as well is the fact that we live in 2 different cities. That also
but the internet has made it a little easier.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I would like if we could get an opportunity to do it. I would like to carve out some time of doing like more Zoom meetings and talking to each other. Like, okay, where are you at? What do you want to do? Because I want to help as much as I can.
Well, and this week,
obviously I'm here.
This week we should probably set up before I leave to go home. We should probably set up like a time that we can talk about it this week because I'm off this week, so we are technically on the same schedule. Because when I put Everly, my daughter, to sleep, it's like 7 o'clock, like pretty much on the dot. So from 7 till whenever I decide to go to sleep, I'm gonna try and like spend time with my wife for a couple minutes.
Sure.
And then I'm
well, maybe
I'm
not that, but
no, but I'm gonna try and put some time into like paneling and creating some stuff because I don't know if I'm gonna have another bit of free time to do this just because I'm so busy and I have so much shit going on. So I'm gonna really dedicate this week to that, and like in the mornings, like we should probably do like 10 o'clock because since you have to work later, but like we should do like an online chat and we can just kind of talk about shit. But I
thought I smelled for a second. Sorry.
Did you say you thought you smiled for a second?
No, I smelled something. I was like,
I thought I smiled for a second.
But yeah, no, we should definitely do that this week because I'm off until next Monday too. So
cool. Yeah, it's been an interesting thing and an interesting process, and it's exciting because it's something that's finished. It's something that's done. And Tyler, I know that you know about that. You haven't published it yet, but you wrote a book.
Yeah.
I need to finish reading it, but Tyler,
do you want to read it?
You got a hard copy?
No, but do you? What do you have a copy of? Do you
I can send it to him. I have a.
Do you want to read it? You can.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Because I have a copy of it.
I've gotten to a point now where I know I need to rewrite the epilogue, but other than that, it's been finished for a long time.
Sweet.
So we talked about with our book, you know, the process of doing it and the meat of it. So like, but you wrote something. Was it easier for you to write this because this is something that's more personal to you?
Yeah,
Because it's fiction.
It took me 15 years to come up with the ending. I started writing it when I was in Denver, like 2003, and I just missed home. And so I wrote this book that was set in Iowa City, but it was called Iliad Falls because I don't know why I thought I would get some backlash because whether Iowa Cityans know it or not, there's a lot of fucking and drugs going on.
Like any
in
college
your town.
It's like it's a college town.
So, but then at a certain point, I was like, I was going to add. I wrote this entire like alternate history of Iowa to make Iliad Falls the original capital, like Iowa City was, but then it never became it. I wrote this whole fucking thing with this love story between the daughter of the guy from Christchurch and the son of the guy, and like it was this whole fucking thing. And then I realized I'm like, why? Why in the middle of the book are you just going to stop the whole fucking thing and just have this alternate history for no goddamn reason, basically to shit on religion, basically. That's what the whole story point was the preacher dad didn't want his daughter, and because of that, they killed themselves.
I really think that I'm going to enjoy this book because...
But
I took it out.
Fuck religion.
Well, yeah, you'll still get some of that in the book, but I realized that
it's changed a lot.
The book needs to be more about how easy it is to take all of the things that have happened to you in your life and just fall into a pattern of self-destruction. And what does it take to get you out of that cycle? And will you take that exit when it comes? Some of the people in the book do.
It's dark.
Most of them don't.
Fuck. Even I read where are you again? I think I'm on the third chapter.
Okay.
But I will give you credit about just how your characters interact with each other. I do think I tried
to make dialogue like my best thing.
I think that it really when you have the two characters interacting, I think it's when it's at its best because I've been in those situations. You wrote a very relatable story and the reactions because there's a scene where these two aren't together. These two characters,
Chris and Gary.
One character clearly likes her, and you know, it's a typical thing where it's a man and a woman in a relationship, and they're not together.
They on and off again.
Yeah, and they're on and off again, and one of them clearly likes the other one more than the other.
Yeah,
and there's a confrontation that I know I have seen or I have been a part of because everybody's been a part of that situation in some way, right? And I really like that about it, but.
When I did dialogue, like especially yelling or shouting,
exclamation.
Whenever I tried, exclamatory, sure. But whenever I did that, I would literally stop and I would say it to myself, like quietly, so I know which words were inflected, which weren't, and I tried to do that so like whichever words I was inflecting more on when I just said it normally, I would capitalize those words, because whenever I read dialogue, if there's capitalized words in the dialogue or like comic books where it's bold inside the bubble, I read through it and know which ones, and then I read it with the inflection. I don't truly read it until I know what the inflection is so that I can read it the way I think the writer intended it. It's really actually kind of irritating when I'm reading books, but
yeah.
But that's what I tried to do to make sure my dialogue was kosher. Was good.
What did it feel like when you were done with it? When you were done, you sat down and you said, "This is it."
Well, it felt great because it was done, you know? It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about these characters anymore. And you and I have talked a lot about how characters will write themselves. You have an idea for what a character is going to do, and then middle of the road, they'll be like, I'm not fucking doing that anymore. And it's not like something else is holding your pen. That's weird. And it's not like you're being possessed. And it's not like...
I hate that it sounds so pretentious.
It does.
But it's true.
Oh, my God.
It's true. It is. It really is. Your character will tell you what they want to do.
I wanted Chris to end up with somebody in the book at the end of the book. By the time the book ended... there was no way that could have possibly happened because of what happened to these two characters.
Chris is the main character.
Yeah. And that's what happened is I said, I want you to do this. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I know, it sounds really stupid.
Well, and
but it's true.
There's definitely parts of the book that we're working on where I thought... Damn, it's so hard to talk about this without spoiling it.
Oh yeah, no, sure.
But in chapter 5, the one that we keep talking about, that's very violent. I think what makes that chapter so effective is the storytelling approach that I used, because in that moment when I was writing that, I was feeling that moment of I felt like I am killing a human being, like.
Well, it's because in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
I
gave them all of this character.
You
and took it all away.
literally bond with these characters unintentionally. You feel what they're feeling. You attach yourself to it so that to be like, yeah, they're not there no more. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Even the villains. I mean, even the ones that you would never like in real life, even they become a part of your world because you have to get inside of the character's head,
which says a lot. Yeah, which is funny because the antagonists of this book, I ended up sympathizing with them a lot more when I finished it.
You have to find some sort of
and that's what I was going to say too. Is like when you fucking sent me the first issue or whatever, or the first 2 issues, I was like, so I'm basically just gonna like start basing these off of us, and like for whatever reason I've attached to Solomon, which is fucking kind of dark, which is the main villain because for me,
I know it happens a little bit, and that is fucking dark, man.
I know. But for whatever reason I just like I grew into that because I sympathize with him, and I understand that, like, you know, just fuck the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you got to be able to say, hey, only the strong will survive.
Yeah.
And not in every situation. You just have to find a common ground with that character in order to write them effectively.
Right.
And really do. In order for Jake to write him and for you to bring him to life on the panel, you have to be
sympathetic.
Even if you never would hang out with this character in real life, you got to find something that's like, okay, I get you now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough to do because the guy in the villain in my book is just a shithead. He's an asshole and a cocksucker. I hate him. But I had to find a common ground, so I did. He also has red hair.
That's your common ground?
That's the only common ground I could find with that asshole.
All right. Well, I mean, whatever works, man.
It worked. Also, I want him to be played by Ewan McGregor in the movie.
Okay. When you sell the movie rights. Yeah.
I don't think he would because he's too old and also...
Well, and also...
bad guy. Although he did great in Birds of Prey.
Another thing I want to talk about with like writing and being creative, I've been dealing in... This past year has made me realize that I have had some sort of anxiety that I've been living with my whole life, but it's never been enough to... I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Over there, Luke, but
he's doing some phlebotomy.
Yeah, he's trying to take out the he's trying to take the sting out of me talking about my emotions. No, but I definitely started to realize that I was becoming more aware of the anxieties that I have, and I told Luke this. I go, a lot of my life was changing, and then everything that happened in this past year has been shit, right? But it was. Oh, looks like.
Stop talking.
No, I'll keep going.
Jesus.
I'll talk to Tyler about this.
Unprofessional.
Yeah. Well, he did drink a giant cup of coffee, to be fair. But this, when I wrote this story, I was in a dark place mentally. and I wrote, and I started to understand that with my anxieties, and it's not, I don't even know if I really have anxiety. This isn't clinically true or whatever. And I don't want, and I say this.
I think it's possible that every one of us in today's society has some sort of anxiety.
I think so, especially my generation.
Holy shit, yeah.
But I don't want to discourage anybody that think that I don't, if I don't know if I clinically have anxiety. I don't want to insult anybody that does. I'm just saying I know people that have anxiety and depression, and I definitely know I have those in me.
You do.
And what I would do with my anxieties, instead of getting medication or things like that, my way of trying to deal with it was writing this. Like, writing this comic book helped with my anxiety, because all of my angers and my fears I was able to put on a page. I was able to tell the story. So when Luke talks about himself identifying with Solomon, I do too.
Yeah.
I understand. Solomon is what I was like deep down inside me, what I was feeling. But there's other characters that I wrote in the story that are more my optimistic side. And while it goes to very dark places, I think at the end of the day, it becomes a little bit more positive and it becomes a little bit more optimistic. But I don't know. Do you have that as well? Do you think that writing helped with your anxieties? And
Right. Yeah. I think so, especially because it was hanging over my head
and
for
I think
so
it
long.
made me more optimistic. That's why I think the story is much more optimistic at the end, because it made me feel better about
Mine
myself.
definitely ends on a semi. It's a bittersweet moment, but it's more sweet than bitter, I guess. But if you think about it, I mean, I had to identify with my main character, and my main character is an entirely different species of human than I am. She's a woman and I'm a man, and I had to, like, to me that was the most difficult part, was just being able to get inside the mindset of a female, basically a female version of me, and not make it accurate, but also not. I mean, I wanted. I wanted this character to be. I want people to end the book and go, "What a fucking badass chick that is," But I also, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, and I
just didn't want to insult.
I think
anybody of the female gender by writing something. So there were times when I'd rewrite something just to be like, honestly, like, I don't know. Just because I would react like that, maybe a woman wouldn't react like that.
This point
if that
is
makes
Diet
sense.
Dr. Pepper.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and to say to that is,
we do have two different ways of thinking, women and men.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's true. We
have
have
different experiences.
We have different insides, you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And
I also, when I'm talking about these books and everything, I also unintentionally refer to them as like you or me, and like Tommy and everything, because when you read these, and if you know us, you will understand why.
Yes.
Because they are very reflective of who we are. Because there's one that's I was already like, so you're basically just writing yourself.
yeah,
right?
I put myself in all of the characters, and
I think you have to.
And like I said, I understand Solomon. I understand, the guys that work for him. I understand, and because again, it's like I was saying, it was me finally being introspective with my anxiety. And that was me being introspective with why am I so scared of all these things changing? Because you got to think about it. Like,
That's my dog.
Somehow Tyler's more than a dog.
Luke's dog Dewey made an appearance today.
What's up, bud?
The father of my son Cooper. Yeah, I'm a dog dad.
He's right here.
Right there. Yeah. On the audio people don't care.
Even though this
So
is kind of embarrassing, I love this dog.
Yeah, he's cool, dude. Kind of a shithead. But
you
I love him.
can't get that in a studio, folks. You can only get it in my apartment. So, and you and I talked about this, about when I wrote this, about what I said to Tyler about how I was able to, when I was having these feelings, I was able to write them down and tell that story, and that's why it comes off a little dark. Do you? And you and I were talking about this. Do you think working on this helped you as well?
Yeah.
With your anxieties and things like that.
I think in a sense,
helps with my anxiety.
It's just, it's been more of an outlet of just darkness. I think because
I think you have more comfort expressing the more angrier side of your personality.
Me too.
And I've for so long I felt it bottled up and I've had it hidden away, and it wasn't until pretty much that I got married that I was told, hey, it's okay to fucking cry. It's okay to let shit out. It's okay to fucking feel like a piece of shit. And that's why for after I got married and I was so fucking emotional on that day is because I actually felt happy for the first time and I'm probably going to cry now. I felt happiness and for the first time in I don't even know how long. And then when my kid was born, it was like that feeling all over again because it's like there's this clean slate and I can instill everything that I was taught and I can do everything that I didn't have or I wasn't told that I wasn't able to do, and this kid and this child is going to be half of me, and I can and there's a possibility that I could fuck this kid's life up, or I can make it better.
And everything from now on, everything that you do in your life, every choice you make, you have to do what's best for the kid.
And it's been stressful,
and
it's for the both of us because we continually have like these fucking like breakdowns of. Our lives could be so much better and we could live so much better, but for right now we have to continue to go through the struggle because we can't just put our shit on hold and just go and try to do something else, because if we do that then it's basically just gonna fuck everything else up. And there's just the choices we make and the things that we do don't affect just us, it affects other people now. So it's just it's that escape. It was able
That's
to.
That's why I'm single.
And no, and
thanks,
and,
Tyler.
and I started writing this a while back, and it was supposed to be. It started out as comical, but then I thought Shadowblade deserves more of a serious character because I truly believe that it is me, and he is just this fucking walking piece of emotion. And I started writing it more now because of this, but it's super dark. It is really dark, and it's basically just a reflection on my life because he basically never knew his parents because they were both died when he was born. That didn't happen to me, obviously, but his adopted parents, which is his grandparents, they basically just treat him like shit, and they don't love him and they don't like him, and so they just send him off. And so I wrote. How I'm writing it is kind of like a journal, like a
Rorschach's journal,
like a not dictionary, but like a diary entry. So like I have everything dated out, and I'm trying to go with it, but it's basically just my emotions and my darkness portrayed as a new character on paper, and I think for what it is, it would work better as just like a one. Like every month or like every week we just release like a journal entry, and it's just like
an audio
like an audio
drama
and
shit sucks.
And I mean in the same way that you want to do the Awesome Man story,
sucks.
I think that it would work that way, but it's basically just me reading it as myself, and then you kind of just get like a little music in the background every once in a while.
Well, write what you know. I mean, as long as I've been a writer of anything, and God, since I was a little kid, I've wanted to create stuff. My brother made comic books before I was born, so I've always been in this storytelling like life, and a lot of places that you're taught writing skills, a lot of them say, write what you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, write what I know. What do I know? Well, I know cocaine, I know weed, I know getting fucked up, and I know fucking.
Well, you were in a band too, so you know about that.
And I wrote a book about fucking and cocaine and weed and booze and being in a band. And it worked. It wrote itself because I knew everything that was going to happen before it happened. Alternately, Luke, what you're talking about is, with like your depression and anxiety, like that becomes a part of that character because what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you put that on the character, or did the character give that to you as a reflection of you? Like you can't really say, but regardless, either way, that. You know that stuff. It's a part of you, and that's why that character is going to be amazing because it's that's how you get good characters. You write what you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know it, like we were talking about, find common ground. Find some sort of common ground with that character, and that'll help you write that character.
And I think that's why Luke understood my antagonist so much, and that's why I understood him. And I think most people that read it will, because, again, you have to take into account when I was writing this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was writing this was in March 2021 is when I kind of first came up with the concepts with Luke, and then I finally started writing it about the next month, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I finished all 6 in like 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just kind of just flew out of me once I figured
when
it
it's
out.
a great idea, it just...
But you have to understand, I'm coming off 2020, which I said earlier that this past year did an amazing work for my creative writing, because I was sending...
My life didn't change a whole lot.
My life
when
didn't.
you're done, I want to tell a story about the pandemic when you're done.
But I was writing a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, me too.
And because of that, I think that this is why the book got to be where it is. And it is that stupid fucking cliche.
It helped me last year with my album.
I've been reading more and I've been writing more. And the only way to make things better is if you read more. And then if you keep writing... It's just like anything else in your life. You need repetition. You need practice.
You can sit there and you can be like lazy and everything. But
I was writing this on the other side of it a little bit, where I was writing this. I just gotten my first shot. I was getting vaccinated. Things were looking up. We, with what we wanted to do for our wedding at the time, and the bachelor party, all this stuff. But when I first started writing it, I was still in a very dark place. And that's why I think, you say, talk about write what you know. But that's why with the other half of the book is when
it's actually the vaccine that sparks everything in this book. And destroys everything who we know and love.
No.
So it's a QAnon.
It's not an anti-vaxxer book. No, but that optimism that I was having leading into my wedding and things that had been happening, I think is why the story becomes more optimistic. But my belief is, as a writer, I have to take it to the most horrible low, the most rock bottom low of this story, of this framing, to then shoot it up. Like it's
a juxtaposition. You can't tell the dark Luke, without the light.
Take what you want, because Luke's close to the project. He's attached to the project, but he's my co-creator. But he also told me when he read one of the last lines of the book, he said you said you welled up.
I did.
And that made me smile, because the reason he welled up is what the character says is uplifting. Because I was so angry, when I first started this, but when I finish it, I was in such a better mental state. I felt so much better. Things just changed for me. And I thought, we have so much fucking depressive shit on TV. You flip on the news, you're fucking depressed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to... And my book is dark. Don't get me wrong. And most of my stories are dark. But I do that intentionally because I want you to fucking...
see the light.
When I
can't tell the light without the dark.
And I promise I'll wrap up here so you can say what you want to say. But when I started working on this other project that we're trying to push out almost concurrently with the book... When I told Luke the idea, the concept of that, and believe me, that story gets real fucking dark. It talks about addiction. It talks about depression. It talks about suicide. It talks about a bunch of things. But when I showed him the demo I made of the song that I created for this, and the scene that I told him about, he started to well up again, because he's like, that's so fucking inspirational. And that's what I want. I want superheroes to inspire people. That's why they were created in the first place. And so I want these characters to make you fucking punch your fist in the air, because it's triumphant, And that is really what's changed my writing. Because originally it was gonna be a lot worse. But halfway through, I was like, no, I want to tell this. And there's a character that you named and helped co-create, that he has electrical powers. That's all I'll say.
Electricity.
Where he became a bigger role in the story because I made him be more of an altruistic character.
I am God.
Yeah. And by doing that, I think that's what also made me more inspired. It made me, I want to be like him. And putting myself in the characters, he is how the ideal version of me being the best I can be.
Yeah.
Hey. Dewey. Hey. Hey.
Dogs are barking.
My
Anyway,
dogs are barking.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Tyler?
No, I just wanted to say to remind you guys like what the pandemic was like. I know we're all trying to forget about it, so I'm not really trying to remind you guys. But when I first met Luke and Tommy, who are two of Jake's best friends and have become two of my best friends, the first time I met them, I was hanging out over here after a podcast. And Jake was like, "Hey, they're coming into town. You should hang out and meet them and hang out." I was just gonna hang out and then probably head home, just meet them and go. And they got here, and literally we clicked so well that I ended up hanging out the whole night. And we recorded some stuff, and we just talked music all night. But the funniest thing about it was during the pandemic. It was during the wintertime, before last summer. And I remember thinking, like, gosh, should I wear my mask around them? Because,
Yeah.
they're from a different town. I mean, that's how... There was seriously a moment where I was like, I don't know if I want to hang out with these guys, but I don't know if I'm, putting myself at risk. But that's the way it was a lot of the times. You remember that? When we first started doing podcasts and shit, we were like, are we going to do them, like, over the thing? And it was like, well, we see each other all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it just a reminder, like, everything had to do with it. Like, you're like, cool, I'm hanging out with these two guys that...
Yeah.
But then at the back of your head, you're like, am I getting COVID from one of them?
So, and there was a certain point there where I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this and be productive about it.
Right.
And
we did get a lot done last year.
that's what writing has done for me. It said, okay, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm anxious. Write about it.
I
Write
didn't
it
get
down.
shit done professionally last year, but personally, creatively, I got a lot done.
Yeah. So it's been an experience. We were going to do a different thing, but that's for a separate episode. I think this is what it should be about. And
You're gonna borrow me that movie too.
yeah, I'm glad that Luke could come in here because the thing is, and this is what's so frustrating is like Luke said it earlier.
Luke
and it's
being
so
on his
true.
iPad during the show.
Sorry, my wife. I'm texting my wife. She's not
what's
happy that I'm still
frustrating?
here.
What the fuck?
Oh, I
Aren't you on
told her.
vacation?
I told her I would be home around 1. She's at work today, so I figured,
Fair
if I'm
enough.
a little late, it wouldn't matter because she's like a little pissed. So
All right,
It happens.
We're wrapping up anyway.
Wrap it up.
But it was what Luke was saying. My big problem is my mind is firing too fast.
Oh,
There's
yeah, no,
too many
it's for
things
sure.
that I want to do. But it's always like
because we already set up fucking the sequel to fucking the one, and it's fucking ridiculous, and I love it, and it's so fucking awesome.
And that's another thing too. Real quick, I do want to say, Luke has been the perfect partner for this because Luke has been so encouraging.
Because
to
we're
me.
the same fucking guy, and we have the same fucking ideas, and it's literally just
Tell
like
the truth.
this.
When
just
you
bleh,
first
bleh,
put
bleh.
on the show, you were like, why is Jake flanked by the same guy?
Yeah, it is true.
There's not much difference between the three of us.
No, I mean,
We're generic
all
looking
very-
white dudes.
We're all very similar thought
You
processes.
have your hair
and-
up. If you had your hair down, you look different.
it's true.
Yeah, if we all had our hats off, you'd be like, well, I can tell that the guy on the right has a gorgeous mane.
I only wear a hat because I don't like to do. I'm lazy. I don't want to do my hair. Cool.
Yeah, what the hell's going on? It's like a dog.
Dogs are getting rambunctious.
There's a dog apocalypse behind us.
No,
We're gonna wrap it
the
up.
thing that I want to do is I tried to make the story a little more grounded, but then as I was writing it, I was like, it's a comic book.
We go fucking nuts.
Let's embrace the fucking comic bookness of it. And Luke has been very supportive. When I pitched the idea to him, when I said it to him, his response back was, "Let's do it."
Fuck yeah!
Oh no, yeah, and I'm always on fucking board. I'm always I'm always riding shoddy when you got a fucking road trip to do because I just like to do shit. I just like to be a part of stuff. So
Well, and we just did an album together. So
oh yeah, no, yeah.
I think we better wrap this up.
No, my dog's barking because he's annoyed that the other dog won't play with him.
And it's not because we've been
I
standing
feel
up
like
on
he's
our
got to
feet
go to
all
the
day.
bathroom too because he just keeps
Possibly.
looking at me.
I have to go to the
through
bathroom.
the boxes.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, please.
All right, we're gonna end the show. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we're doing it now.
Wait, do you have a Tinkerbell?
How would I know I
do you
was
have a
ready?
Tinkerbell sound effect?
How?
I thought it was worth a try.
No, fuck you. Fuck you both. Thanks so much for watching and or listening to episode number 4 of Off Panel, Off Topic.
I'm running away.
It's nice to talk about this project again. We have a deadline for ourselves, but we're not going to announce it because we're still working on this fucking thing.
Fuck you.
Why would we promise you something and then not deliver on it? What are we? A corporation?
It's true. We're Disney. What?
But Disney, if you do want to buy it, I mean,
Every time you
that'd
say
be
something,
cool.
I'm just gonna flip it around.
but put it on Hulu. Don't put that shit on. This is a violent
This is too
book.
dark to be on your Disney Plus. We need it on Hulu because we want the
Yeah.
adults, we want the late night freaks to watch this
This is
shit.
a hard R. The cuss and there's violence and
Sex and drugs.
We want
and
people who
alcohol.
spend
Not
a
in
lot of
this
time
one.
masturbating.
what the fuck? Always dicks with you, man.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and
Yeah.
banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm
Oh,
married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.